Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Today we have the Game 1 of the West Side semifinals featuring Possumorpheus versus xPankraz. I am joined by our restreamer Plumeria Knight, our tracker Dubward, and my co-commentator Deathlike. How you doing, Deathlike?
Really good. I'm excited to see this matchup because big names means everything looks like a jet seat when they're not. That is, I love seeing high level play. So I'm just happy to commentate on this. That's.
And I see Pankraz has managed to continue with his naming scheme habits of Tella always being named Stinky. So, always good to see that. Both of them have in the past won tournaments, so it's sure to be a great match. Which starting character are you hoping to see of the two options?
Porum, my fave, because I know everyone kind of doesn't like the fact that she dies more often than not than Rosa, but what's underrated is exit. But you know what? We're gonna have that trip to Zot. That's probably gonna be something, probably at least on the minds, unless an exit caster shows up. So there's which unless Cecil is in the party, goes up Mount Ordeals, which is the place not a lot of runners want to be. Probably that Zod trip looks a lot more appealing unless a Porum shows up.
Yeah, exit definitely goes and adds a bit more thought to whether you're gonna do Zot, because there's been a lot of habits throughout this tourney of deciding what to fade and when to fade it. I'm pretty sure all of the runners in the tourney have at some point faded something and been burnt by it. Something important, Ordeals, Baron, Dwarf, Zot. All of those in different times have been hard required or important and have cost people races, but you never know on a seed by seed, and if you're just going to do everything, it could just be on the moon. So it's going to be a tough calculus with these two runners who they can clear very, very fast. What fades are they going to make, and will they pay off?
I mean, we're not going to do too much math on stream, hopefully, but I think in general, just if you think about just playing your game, doing the best you can, and then make one major decision, and that's usually within the middle or towards the end, where you decide what you do, what you fade, and where you go, ultimately makes the difference. Oftentimes, a lot of the things early on, your opponent's going to do the same thing, and it's more or less. Now they're not going to copy each other, but more like a lot of convergence happens. Unless the seed is linear, but in most cases the seed will have some divergence. But the most important divergence is kind of that last decision that makes the key difference between the two runners.
Yeah, a lot of the early game, unless it's a hyper jet, most checks will be done eventually. Some power levels will change and vary, but Ninja Hat and Bestiary Kit. But we have Kane. He has a fairly solid strength and agility stat, so once we get him some levels, he will become a pretty good Zerker. Or if we get some other characters early enough or gear soon enough, he still starts out at 11 agility, which, if we can find any sort of drain weaponry or dwarf axe, can act as an anchor if we get other characters.
But we have Omnidex. The thing that gates Kane is his weapon selection, and when you unlock his potential, he's essentially Cecil without all the good stuff normally. So and here, he's just about the same, if not better, in some areas. So I mean, starting Kane is a perfectly solid start. I mean, this is a power couple you may have seen in like community races, and this is just. I mean, well, those races probably don't have Omnidex, but it's a solid pairing. So you could probably get to the hook route with these two in tow, even if the dupes show up. I mean, this is fine for the most part.
Early ebb and loot, very, very common. Vanilla traps along with weighted loot makes it almost almost always the play the runners tend to go. We've seen a ninja shirt along with some heavier armor, which means we 100% have a way through some of these trap chests. However, it's a matter of, do we have the offense to clear them?
Oftentimes I think we've seen like the Matador chest on the way out from the right tower. Right tower exit is a nice convenient routing, and Pankraz is half routing it. I don't think he went onto the left side, so I guess
both started left.
Oh, I missed it.
Weapon wise, I haven't seen too much, but we did get a charm. Oh wait, we have a black sword and we can swoon proc.
Yeah, swoon proc popular. So I think those are there may have been erased. May want to rewatch just for fun. Just that had some early swoon procs.
And actually, we're seeing divergence. Possum setting up all of the plus agility gear. He's splitting a bit of the armor, equipping the crystal sword, but he has a very he has armor on his party members. Set up a charm claw. So it looks like
it's a charm rod. It's a rod.
He looks like he's gonna swoon one, use the charm rod to as an item on one of the other black cats, or based on this agility, looks like it might just be swoons.
I love that when they say that you when you sleep when you die you sleep forever. Kane is doing that. He's proccing both
Smooth.
Yes,
sleep.
Yes, that's his own thing, but that's not a good side. Probably should have jumped, and because that probably should be okay, but I think Kane's having problems hitting himself, which is kind of interesting. But Pankraz seeing a pain man not in a pain position, so it's fine. Possum's fine, but I think they have to find a way for Rosa to contribute, because
no.
Oh no. This might be a reset. That'd be a painful reset, especially when neither Kane.
We have ninja hat. We have a ninja shirt. We might not have enough multiple. There we go. There we go. Okay.
If that hit him, that might. Actually, no, that would be a full ATB at that point. But if that actually could proc, that would have been a disaster.
Yeah. With these swoon proc strats, when there's 2 actors, 3 actors, it's usually fine enough. However, getting that final swoon can be very challenging. This time it's only Rosa, so we're a little fine. And it looks like we're switching to jump.
Yeah, the a lot of counter scripts are reacting to the fight command. A lot of other commands like jump, aim, power, those don't trigger that, even though they're effectively punches. But yeah, Possum is having a slow day at it, and I missed what Pankraz had, but probably wasn't too long for this world anyways.
The big unfortunate thing here is Rosa not getting the XP and it only being a life staff. Kane is online though, so those stats will really help him out. We found DKC gating a Porum, so we have our exit caster for the seed, and we got the Baron key. Yay!
I mean, once you do the Baron in check, it's gonna follow into that. So that's a nice key item. When key items allow you to route a certain way, something favorably, especially in the early overworld, it's kind of nice. It's kind of quality of life without being quality of life. So I think for weapons, it's interesting. Possum picked the cat claw. I'm not sure if there's a better weapon. I feel.
It's for the agility.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that I'm more concerned about the damage. You get to go first, but that damage, when trying to swing away, Is the reason you don't see, if you ever had the vanilla edge, try to use a claw. If you use that claw that doesn't expose any sort of weakness, that damage is kind of not. It's not exciting. So initially I thought it was for the accuracy, although the black sword has pretty good accuracy. So it's one of those things where it's an interesting decision. I understand it, but I would have used a stronger weapon to punch at him.
Yeah, so the entire reason we had it was purely for the agility, because the damage doesn't matter when they get one shot. That's it. Once we go and start fighting bosses, he'll swap it with something. I haven't seen too many good things. I think currently like the Ninja Star or Flame Spear is our best bet, which is what it looks like we see on Pankraz's side. So unfortunate that we didn't get a good weapon to help Possum out with his trap chest, but he has the XP, so we'll see. Once they start meeting up again, we'll see how the time frame converges.
The Ninja Star, while you usually, in vanilla, you usually use it as a throwing weapon, Omnidex, you get to take advantage of the fact that it has the wind elemental, so it's a projectile like a bow and arrow or a spear. So spear's not a projectile, but it hits flying enemies the same way. So, at least most spears, anyways. That is a very underrated strong weapon for this flag set, especially with the power it has. I mean, Flame Spear doesn't excite, but Ninja Star actually is stronger than that. I think it's 80 attack power versus like the 60 so attack power on the Flame Spear.
Yeah. Having the Ice Brand is good because now we have two weapons to start stacking up the offensive power, because physical attack damage is increased via two parts: weapon power and multipliers. Weapon power can max out at 255, however multipliers, until your stats are pretty much 96 or so in strength and agility, can just keep on increasing. So until you get to 255 attack power, it's often better to work on getting your attacks weapon power higher. But once you get to 255, focusing on stats boosters is where you want to be at.
Yeah, multipliers are interesting on their own because how damage is rolled. Having more multipliers is often more important, at least in the early game, if you face like a Val in a really nasty spot. This is probably not a problem here because you got oodles of weapons and plenty of opportunities to increase your stats regardless of what character you're like. Putting Hero Robe on your head because you can. Those are easy. That's usually an easy, strong way to get multipliers up, at least for attack power. Not so much magic evasion, but hey, you got to trade off to get all that power.
Yep. And Possum hasn't done Antlion yet, so no Baron Key, but might, if he goes and does Ordeals soon enough, should have a chance of getting to exit on Porum and could exit out of Antlion, which that might be one reason he's putting it off just that little bit longer. Meanwhile, Pankraz is heading to Baron Inn. I missed it. Is this going to be a character, or are we going to keep on 3-personing the seed?
I think I missed it too.
We'll find out soon.
I think Possum's actually gonna fade. I mean, we've seen this. That's a cane, so it's a dupe cane. It's not a. I think it's dupe cane.
Yep.
So it does. So that doesn't matter. We're just looking for it's a key item check, regardless of whether the character was a dupe. So I think. You're still gonna see runners do Hobbs, and here just to even check for the alt gauntlet. That is still, well, not always guaranteed to to line up in your routing, but you know might as well. Sometimes face it, some the checks themselves aren't that long anyways. Just the alt gauntlet is always long just because five fights, regardless of the difficulty, is still 5 fights, and that takes time. So you might as well.
And there we go, heading straight to ordeals for Possum. And our reward for Baron In was Dragon Protection. Yay.
Actually, well, it's still valuable for armor. Resistant to the basic elements, which is fire, ice, and lightning, and dragon resistance. Because how many dragons do you have to kill to get some XP? That's about all you're looking for. It's solid armor, not what you're looking for. But it's pretty much undervalued often, especially in Omnidex. Pretty valuable.
Yep. And we find the boss that really does not want us to have elemental weapons, so we're swapping to dwarf backs and a longsword. It's possible that if we saw the ninja star, that could have been an alternative, but with the jump power to avoid the slow counters, we should be through. Could have also gone archer bow, Artemis arrows, but not enough health, not enough accuracy and multipliers on Rosa, so not the best option.
I would still try it, but yeah, there's plenty of other. Pale Dim is weak against essentially the same thing that the dragons have. You know, it's basically kind of if a piece of armor represented an enemy, Pale Dim represents the dragoon set. That's all you have to know about to remember how. And yeah, a leg, probably not long for this world. One jump, that's it.
And we see Baron Castle from Pankraz after checking the weapon and armor shops, and it appears he has bought 6 black belts. Up until we start getting the really strong pieces of stat gear armor-wise, like the heroine robe or the power shirt, that's going to be some of our best equipment for our physical fighters.
Yeah. 3 black belts isn't quite a heroine robe. A heroine robe gives additional agility, which often gets the 3rd multiplier bonus. So attack multipliers, you just need, it's 8 points of strength per multiplier and 16 points of agility, and you have 15 of strength and agility, so that's almost approximately 3 attack multipliers, which is why whenever we talk about Val and when you hear about heroine, you understand that is the counter to a Val back attack. I'm not sure I've seen too many of that in the series, but you know, if you've seen heard Val back attack, that is why the heroine robe is just a godsend. It's just that powerful.
And it's also why the heroine robe in Omnidextrous is arguably either the second best or the best piece of equipment, depending on where you put the Avenger. Likely the Avenger is better, but besides that, no other piece of weapon or armor provides the multipliers that a heroine robe does.
I'm excited for this version of Vanilla, where the waves don't actually harm. Though Rosa still probably could die, but given enough time, Kane will just pretty much kill him off, or not. The wave isn't the threat that it used to be.
Yep, and we see that we have the pan for more deals for Possum. We'll see if Baron provides any value, because that quite possibly is the number 1 location Possum is known to avoid. Other runners have ordeals. For Possum, it's Baron.
Did Baron in, or just Baron itself?
Baron Castle. Baron in is not something either of the runners are known to fade. Like, they might fade it if they route funky and forget about it, but as long as they know where as long as they don't forget about it, they typically won't miss it. Just the early character is enough to check it.
I mean, yeah, consider. I guess just looking at Baron, I mean, you have the 3 bosses, 2 required to unlock Baron, and then there's the summon, which will not get much play, but will you probably get a peek just to see if the alt gauntlet is there. And then there's the one key item. Since K summon is not on, there won't be a second key item. So the value of Baron Castle in this flag set is really high. Although, find a rat tail, prove me wrong. That's
we got a key item. Pan for more deals. Rat tail from Baron Castle. Could be nothing. Could be everything.
I'm just happy with that. The randomizer just hey, you're gonna get a pink tail from your rat tail. Oh, we trade that automatically. Quality of life instead of trying to menu that. It's nice when it happens. Doesn't always, but when it does, it's nice.
Yeah, I don't think we have anti-mage, so even if we found the gauntlet, I wouldn't expect to have seen it fought. But just the Leviathan. That's out of the pool. And so now we have FF4FE raising the hovercraft and Possum finally heading to Antlion to get the Baron key, which we have the hook and the pan, so I would not be surprised to see Possum fading Baron for a little bit.
Well, we'll see if that is a punishment or a payoff, depending on, because FF4FE is very likely to turn that in as soon as that hovercraft rises. So Possum, on the other hand, will he's gonna just go do the hook after this. I mean, it's nice in terms of routing that it's convenient that, hey, you're right next to the Antlion cave, not too far to travel.
We found the gauntlet. Gauntlet is in the waterfall, it looks like, this seed. So quick, see it. We don't have the AoE, we don't have anchoring with an earth hammer or virus caster, so peek it, reset, and move on with it in mind. So that will not be our first objective, but it is an objective found. So it's a thought, hey, do you want to do it now, get it over with, or not get over? So that's a terminal key item. Unfortunately, not so great for what we need, but not for what we want, because so if Possum fades the whole Baron thing completely, this is not going to punish him. So right now, it's up to Possum if he decides to come back. But it's right now. Nice for FF4FE. We'll slice through things even quicker, but not something that might not make a difference. But we'll see how much of a power difference it is if Possum truly fades Baron. Yeah, with the triple black belt available, having not gotten a weapon to hit 255 yet, that first one, the first X-Cow, that first Crystal Sword or the Spoon, it's really a large increase. So that's FF4FE is currently going to be hitting with those black belts with that Spoon and the ability to equip a stat booster as the second instead of another stick. He's probably going to be hitting twice, if not 3 times as much. And with no good AoE, Possum's even fading the Staleman Skull that FF4FE is actively currently doing.
It's not a high chance because there's only not that many trap chests there. So,
having not seen any key items yet from Edlin Castle, yes, we could have seen 2 key item there's at least 2 of those trap chests in logic as potentially a key item. We saw 2 Zonks, that could be the 2 key items. Ogre Axe is pretty neat. That provides us our anti-ogre for, say, Red Giants later, or the Staleman now. Mute Knife is also good for anti-mage, but there's a decent chance that this is a key item check, even if it's not a key item.
Yeah, probably maybe come back to it. It's not right now.
Come back with Wake.
Nice, yeah, it's or something or some sort of AoE. Right, right now, it's just not an efficient fight. And FF4FE, well knows the contents, and now it's fully fadeable. Yeah, it's not gonna bite him. Which is great. Also, I think there was a different race recently that ran where the checking or not doing or just checking for a spot, even if you're not coming to it, just makes a difference. So once you know where the gauntlet is, then you just don't have to think about doing other additional checks. Just looking for the gauntlet. You don't even think, like, you go to Fate March, don't even have to spend the moment peeking for the bosses. You don't even do it. It's safe. So just the information itself is valuable, so that especially in the solo boss hunt that is in this flag set, it's time saved or wasted if you're doing a check early. Even if you don't complete it immediately, it's a significant overall time save.
Yeah. It will be interesting if there's a water hag in the Fey March, because, well, not being a key item check, a lot of runners might not have a save just because with the high power and anchoring available, the gauntlet is very, very doable. If it's a water hag, it could provide a pretty big piece of equipment. Or nothing. Both are possibilities, but
I mean, I don't think there's a lot of. I don't think the experience in the Fey March, though.
The XP isn't worth. The XP is no value. It's, however, the item. It can be an Avenger, and that can be big. It could be a heroine robe as well.
I think Possum has found the anchor. Like, not big. I mean, if there were a better character, sure, but no. Immediately promoted Porum to at least another Zerker. But yeah, we know. Yes, Omnidex is on, so anyone can equip this spoon. But unfortunately, there's a lot more value with a white mage than a bard that can swing anything. Because the white mage can also swing
better
anything.
Stats. Porum can cast Berserk. Edward can hide. And however, he can always hide, so as long as with our -10 agility plus agility gear, we can get him to RA1, you can always make it figured out. And we've also already seen DKC, which is the #1 reason to have a hiding Edward.
Oh yeah, there's value. So you don't like, there are times where Edward's utility is actually invaluable. So there are seeds where you may actually depend on hide strats, and there is a Z hide strat as well. Though I don't expect that to happen this late in the tourney, because those strats take time, and by then you have really high leveled characters that will be a lot more effective than that. But if it were a valid option on the table, probably see it, but not with these two running with this flag set.
Yeah. It's always fun to loot an item after buying it, as looks like there was one right near the shop selling them, but I guess they dropped one.
I have buyer's remorse all the time. When something shows up, you just bought it and it shows up. It's a thing. I bought some. I ordered something on Amazon only to find it like there was a coupon a couple days on Black Friday. That is I know the feeling.
And actually, so the Hook 2 boss is CPU. This fight is one that you could definitely see the power difference of 6 black belts and a spoon. Like, there is a solid chance of saving a minute or even close to 2 minutes from the ability to be less safe in the fight on xPankraz's side. I don't expect to see him the first one underground, but he's definitely going to make up some time heading down this Hook route, I expect.
Yeah, I think Possum has probably said many things about power progression, like how do I get all this power as quickly as possible, and the spoon, especially in this flag set, would be one of them. So it isn't out of the question to wonder like how much faster Possum would be had gotten the rat tail to trade in for the spoon, even basically doing Baron. So it's hard to quantify, and I'm sure maybe look back at the VOD and review would it have made that much of a difference. It depends on obviously the result, but it's always a thought. If you could get that power quickly, you do it, and whenever possible. And the spoon usually is the top tier, one of those things that changes the dynamic of how fast the races run.
And actually, you can kind of just see it right here and now. We saw Zerked Kane on Possum's side, 2,000. Pretty good, pretty solid. Without any anti-ogre on FF4FE side, I've seen hits as large as 4,000, but at minimum 3,000. So that's just 1,000 damage a hit we're currently saving.
Blink strats. This fight's gonna be slow. Probably get some Zerk, mostly on Kane whenever possible. Right now, not in a particular rush. Not sure why the mute knife on Porm. Not that she's gonna be swinging. Although no, maybe that was for the Mad Ogre fight, which that's expected to be. You could. It's technically a stat stick at this point, but it's not for a stat that she would need. But the fight is good. Fights like this are pretty slow, so a spoon for especially a CPU, I think D-Mist would qualify. Like fights that are just abysmally slow, the spoon will cut things like hot butter or something.
I think having blinked it, we're going to try and get it closer. So probably about 6 jumps, 12,000, get it halfway. Then you can go and get a pair of Zerkers, or just Zerkade and try and recast the blink now that the fight's gone and going, to try and speed up that last bit. Little bit of a risk, but could definitely save some time. FF4FE's side, hitting for 3,000-4,000. Honestly, just Zerkane. If he gets hit, you have multiple life casters, multiple white mages. Heal the party. He should have enough vitality to tank one mazer after resurrection. So heal the party. If you have to go through second set of orbs, free XP, but should be able to get some decent time save. And a blink can get that early, save you from a couple early hits while you initiate.
It's easier to be more aggressive once you've whittled down the CPU's HP to a level like you often see something like you have Bahamut, you have Meteor, and you still want to mitigate not getting hit by a Globe 199, which is a really strong spell, but being more aggressive towards the stretch, it's still a gamble, but you mitigate the risk once you've whittled down the HP down enough. Like you don't have to spend time constantly doing it. But I don't think Porm has learned Blink. I'm not entirely sure, but if that it doesn't look like it. So it's just one Blink caster. I think Porm needs a few more levels anyways, and she's probably been down a few times, so probably wouldn't have had her as a second Blink caster anyway. So to mitigate the chance that Kane accidentally murders the attacker, which he's clearly trying to avoid.
But yeah, hopefully we don't end up in an unfortunate loop of, hey Kane, hit the back one.
There is some RNG there. And there was had a discussion. But it may be worth visiting the Discord where all the discussion, the interesting mechanics or shenanigans that also happen on the Discord. But mostly interesting.
Might have some sort of loop here.
Yeah, it happens. It could. It's fixable, but it's not. It's RNG, but it's not exactly 50-50 as you think some things may be. Even though
there we go, finally. But with those larger hits, we and Possum's unfortunate RNG here. Very unfortunate RNG. If you've been doing math, we should get about 2 swings after, at least 1, but maybe 2. You can stop blinking if you think the CPU is below like 4,000 hit points. You should be fine after that, but we see FF4FE is through the fight has second in, first out, gained a lot of time.
Yeah, it's what's unfortunate. It's the way it'd be. Well, it's fortunate for Pankraz, not so fortunate for Possum. I mean, you don't even have two berserkers going at it, which might have sped it up, but also would make it a lot more risky, as you only have
two
one
berserkers makes blink strats harder, but provides a larger. Before Globe 199, you should get twice through your Zerkers, so let's say that's 6,000. That means that you can be a little closer. And even if a Zerker goes down, you still have one swinging to really make it a little easier. The risk is if your non-Zerker goes down.
Right now, I do think that still even more or less. I mean, Possum faded the things that don't contribute to to winning in the sense of like key items to actually win the game. But for Pank, I mean, and still kind of ahead in terms of having done ordeals. So right now it's still even, and it's very much a toss up. So don't assume one has anything over the other. It's just a matter of time.
One objective known, and that's Pankraz's with Gauntlet Peak at the waterfall. I don't think I saw it on Possum's side.
Possum's done it. Possum. They know where it is.
You did see Possum peek it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So both know where it is, so we shouldn't be seeing any unnecessary boss checks, but we've got exactly one known objective, 5 more to go of the 6 out of 7 needed. It's still early. I mean, it could finish in the next 20 minutes, but not likely.
Interesting. I didn't see what was peaked on the Tower of Babel. But it's probably easy enough to take care of if Pankraz is going up. Usually, actually, an interesting valid choice, because I think if you've seen other races, maybe one you may have seen or not seen recently, that sometimes the tower key shows up in the most convenient of manners. Just a reminder: don't spoil other races.
Tower key can always be in the tower, which feels unfortunate if you try to fade it. It could also be outside the tower, which could also feel unfortunate. It looks like Possum is going in on Dwarf for the character check. No sweeper equals Sylph is slower. Baymarch, the Warriors, is slower. So getting that sweeper is one of the contributing factors to being able to efficiently clear this underground. So definitely a large reason to do Dwarf.
Yeah,
Pankraz is just pushing the known objective.
That is if you think about it, that is a major divergence between the runners at this point. Knowing that Possum needs more power, Pankraz doesn't need it as much. You got the spoon, but it's not the same as having an AOE, and just being able to target everything is kind of a dramatic difference. So I mean, it's a very interesting divergence based on necessity, and Possum has a necessity that, this is super free for whoever comes along, or if it's a dupe.
Yang, that is character 5. There's 2 more in the seed, but it's getting harder and harder to find them. This might be one of those seeds with no good sweeper, and that could be interesting to see what the runners do, whether either of the runners decides to sweeper.
Well, in terms of, I think we still have the firepower. Probably needs, depending on what Possum says. I guess Yang is going to be staying as the Zerker. There's no, I mean, if it's not Edward, it's got to be Yang that's going to be anchoring. So I think we know what Possum has decided. There aren't too many character options unless doing for the Moon. I mean, Moon is the last replacement, hoping for a Fu, but at this point, you just get what you have and stick with it. I think it's not terrible. It's just not optimal. We may see some, we'll definitely see some Rosa casting Mute for a Sylph run. So that is that's the most you can expect out if a Sylph run happens. It probably will happen.
With the armor we've gotten, you might not even necessarily need to see mute. You can just tank the hits. It's a matter of getting rid of the animation of the fire. You'll still see the text box, but you'll not be seeing it. I would still expect to see, with anti-mage, we're going to do the Toad Lady on our way to turn in the pan. But it looks like top of tower was a double, leading to the harps. So FF4FE has a bit of direction, whereas Possum's direction still based on the pan.
Might as well. I saw 2 cat claws in the inventory, so that's a sure thing. Possum is keeping Yang for the rest of the seed unless there's a food that shows up. But Yang's gonna stick around a bit longer. At least this is the safe fight. Not have to worry. But I think this might be a Rune X. Yeah, that should immediately murder the Toad Lady, and not have to worry about Toads croaking, as they are dependent on the Toad Lady to direct them. Toad Lady kind of operates like the officer soldier, or the kind of the actual natural Fabul, the general and the soldiers, where she's actually said she casts a hidden spell that kind of triggers a counter reaction by all the toads that make them do effectively what is almost but not literally a kind of a chain toad event.
And you kind of see this when you murder the Toad Lady. There's the moment where the Toad Lady is supposed to take her action, you'll see a pause. If you're at lower battle speeds, it's very noticeable. No actions pop up, nothing happens for a period of time. But it is perfectly safe, because it's like, all right, it's our turn. Oh, I guess we're not going.
I mean, it's kind of like an egg. It's kind of like eggs are a special case all on themselves. The monsters that are in eggs typically have an. Oh, actually, I think they all have an egg script, which makes them do nothing, and then until you damage them, and then when they crack, and it's its own unique thing. To be fair, looking at it, looks like Possum I think wants to probably cash in on the sand routing immediately, because this seems there are other things to do, and I think and there's also swapping the airship too.
Yep, and FF4FE was also missing a sweeper, and both of these runners do enjoy the power boost Sylph Warriors provides, along with how efficient can get through it. So they're really trying to get that sweeper before touching it, and that's just drove both of them to do dwarf.
I would take a Tella. Though not in this flag set, Tella is taking a very long nap in this flag set. Won't be seen. Only the mop will show up, which you will take anything to speed up those fights. Just even if it's a off centers stone.
The unfortunate issue with that is the ghosts are the big one you want to.
But you can't.
AoE, and they cannot be stoned. So where you can stone the other ones, those have less actions. They're not all casting spells. So you can kind of manually kill them in a reasonable pace. The ghosts are the big one that can't be stoned.
Well, there's also the hair dryers as well. Those can't be stoned either. There's a list of things that you can't immediately kill, and ghosts are one of them. Hair dryers are the other. Hair dryers are the monster chest on the moon in that pathway. Because they look like hair dryers. That's why they are known. Even though they're named off of cells, because cells.
Yeah. No value from the pan. So the Baron versus Ordeal. Baron provided power. Pan provided a little less so. And now Possum's heading to Lower Babel to go and do that objective. We'll get the harp. FF4FE, since he's underground, doesn't have the pan, has decided this to go and at least do this trap chest, which it's not AoE, but you can still manually kill it. And because it's a 1-of-1 trap chest, it's guaranteed to be a potential key item.
Thing, Berserk has a lot of bugs. If you parry, get that command off, and then the Zerk comes, you have to actually take the parry turn first before the status sets in. But parrying increases the defense for the duration till the next turn, where the menu pops up. If the menu doesn't pop up, you keep that bonus. So which is a nice benefit because Berserk has plenty of glitches that go with it, but that is also one of them.
Neat. But yeah, as you can see, with the healing, with the power, you're 2 swings every. So once you get through that first cycle, it goes 5, then 3, then 1, and then it's done. So could be faster, but it's not that slow. So with the Fame Arch check, you want to do it along the way.
That's unfortunate. The loot isn't exactly the most desirable. Hey, but you'll take whatever loot you can get. Probably, resistance to a lot of the elements is a great thing, but didn't think much of not a key item, not even keep the XP from that warrior's chest. So I mean, it's an interesting choice, and I can understand it.
Actually, so now that all of these checks have been done, darkness is looking like a major form of progression at this point, and the options for darkness are either the Twin Harp or the Poison Treasury. Every other check has been cleared by these runners, where they may not have both. They may have a lot more checks on their end, but the two of them don't overall have shown us where our progress is likely to lie. After this nice music check, we'll know pretty soon whether or not Sylph is going to be required with or without a sweeper.
We'll find out the result for Pankraz, whether the harp does anything. It's not a required objective unless it has an objective. That
harp is an objective.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, okay. Then you might as well. I like my chances with the Sylph scale. We'll still kind of come back up here anyways, but I think for Possum, I think at this point, I think Sylph seems more appealing than Harp. And I think, if the memes were to be true, some people like to fade Harp, except not in this flag set.
Yep. But I don't know if we did we see a Sand Ruby check.
I don't think that happened at all. Like that, so would have to be on the way to something.
I would be not necessarily surprised to see a Sand Ruby check, but having seen 5 of 7, there's a chance that we just see Pankraz head to Sylph if this isn't valued. The interesting thing will be, if this is Darkness Crystal, what do you decide with in regards to the Poison Treasury?
Just mull it over after the music.
Music done. Second objective down, and we get the package. So we have to do a non-sweeper sylph, which we might be seeing ordeals from Pankraz next. Just anything to avoid that. It'll be really interesting to see if a runner decides to peek the package, and if it's a Palom, do you take him? He doesn't get Quake until after the first fight, but he'll speed up the other 5. So I don't know. Could be interesting.
I would consider it. I mean, I would consider it. It's not too far away, and we're right there. So probably do both checks. You got Sand Ruby and the package. So for Pankraz, it's a double. It's twofold. So you might as well. Which is interesting. So we'll find out who's in the bed, and it's a Dupe Rosa.
Okay.
Not interested, but I think that was a save. So we should be not even checking the package. Okay. Oh no, we'll still have to go back there. Didn't save at the place that was landed at.
And so is continuing to proceed with his ordeals fade. With this decision, he has never had. It is not required, so that's not going to force him. And having chosen to do sweeperless sylph instead of it, we're not seeing ordeals play anytime soon on Pankraz's side.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So as a consequence of this, I think Pankraz might be in the lead just by default. No, knowing that we know Pan doesn't lead to anything, though Pankraz might have we'll probably still check him on our deal, then may chase the Pan. That might eat back in some of that time up, but kind of ahead just because. But I think we're here for a replay of music.
Enjoy.
Oh, there's our shocker. Finding the darkness crystal.
I mean, that was at this point known to us. But with that darkness crystal, that's getting it that early in those chests. You start off with the non-ghosts, could find something to maybe speed the ghosts up. They're easier, they're faster, and and if you find the darkness, it gives you the option to consider leaving then and there.
I think you're just doing it for the XP. There's still
XP on the moon.
Yeah. But you still you're already here. You don't leave any chest unopened, or trap chests specifically. So I think you're here. You might as well collect it. Or there are worse things that happen if you just immediately decide to fade everything else. Not that there's probably going to be like maybe one key item at most in these chests, considering the pool. But it's kind of one of those. You're here. You might as well collect experience and the loot one way or the other. You don't want to double back here at any point. So it's more of a kind of a like. You're here, and it's also safety.
Yep. Possum's doing the nice double of warriors into Fey March, we'll get nothing but a Protect Ring and a Drain Spear. And Pankraz has committed and will just finish them up. Got an X Cow so far for bonus. It'll be interesting to see if Possum also makes the same decision. I can definitely see both things happening, but you never know.
Yeah. Not. There was. I think both runners have gotten Edward like some XP, which is not a concern. I think they've at least picked up a Drain Spear or at least something to slow the anchor down. But the concern about especially Edward is that he does grow agility pretty aggressively, like compared to like Edge has it like grows pretty quickly and has a pretty decent starting agility. If not, I mean, he's the fastest character practically of all intents and purposes. But Edward isn't actually too far behind. I mean, there are some faster, but for the anchor is a dangerous situation to get too many levels on without having any sort of stat nerfing, specifically agility nerfing equipment. So it's one of those things you just sometimes you get, hey, you can let Edward get a few levels here because it's not going to matter too much.
Yeah, we have -10 at least for both runners. Pankraz could have had 15, but reset out the Drain Spear. I don't know that we'll see Possum reset. I see an exit, but Pankraz is finishing up Sylph. So with this, it's going to be pretty. I don't think Possum's more than like 4 minutes behind, and Moon Routing can very much clean it up. People were mentioning in chat kick strats for Waterfall. That makes a lot of sense. With the requirement that we're heading back to Earth, Gauntlet is the only go mode that can be found on the moon that doesn't require heading back to Earth. So I wouldn't necessarily be surprised to see the runners save it for after XP unless they are confident in Yang's damage prior.
I think I'm trying to remember the HP. I think kick if you probably reach around something at least north of 30. Cat claws will help up, but yeah, north of 30. The kick should be okay. The under 200 HPs and kick doesn't need it. Well, it's a very weak attack, but it doesn't. For like enemies, if you get enough levels, like I've done the grind before, where I get enough levels so that he can kick dark imps, only 199 HP in one hit, and it's nice when you get the levels to do it. So it's not too bad. If it were something like a All Gauntlet Unbaron, where the Aqua Worm would be the tank, quote tank, and that type of party, the kick would be less effective. So kick would be the instrument of choice, barring more J item like maybe or Stardust rod that shows up, because that would be super convenient. Oh well, we just saw a spell that no one can use. That would be overkill.
Yep. So we, outside of the darkness, the only real value was the X Cow in the ghost next door. So if Possum chooses to leave after just doing the non-AoE ones, then wait, Possum's already doing the AoE ones, so never mind.
I think there's a possibility that maybe deferring to that last character on the moon is holding out all hope. It's a foo. That would be the thing if to just before kind of just waiting, deferring as much time as possible for the All Gauntlet check. That would be the only thing possible. Though I wouldn't hold hope for a foo. I think we haven't even
5 of 7. There's 2 more options, and they could Tella.
there's the giant and the lunar dais, so that's just basically effectively moon or indirect moon checks with the big whale. So probably unless we need like an infusion of experience and pick up that character on the giant, I doubt that'll happen. But I mean, that would be amusing if
this party's fine. This Sylph was the last reason to care about a black mage. Yes, you can stone the warlocks for about a 30-second, 40-second time save, but only if it hits. And outside of that, we have enough Zerkers, enough casters. We're more than able to finish the seed with this party just fine. So no need to go out of your way after this for character checks. But one interesting thing to we are seeing.
It's the pan check.
Sheila one.
It's the
yes. I was about to say one interesting is on that overworld, Possum did everything but Baron. FF4FE did everything but Ordeals. Both of them chose to do sweeperless Sylph before heading back to the check they faded on the overworld, which is very indicative of never heading back to that check. It's a commitment. That is for sure. It's a commitment. Do we have anti-dragons? Because that Dragoon Spear, if we didn't, looks pretty appetizing to make those 2 dragon trap chests a lot safer and a lot easier.
Bimmy and Jimmy in this seed? Oh, no way! I don't know. It's always fun to talk about that just because the 2 dragons are completely different from the other. One has the HP, can punch you and if left alone can burn you into oblivion. The other one is a tank in terms of having all the elemental resistance ever conceived, and still and also can kind of occasionally take some magic damage. Though still, like, Quake is still strong enough to take that on. But yeah, the Bimmy and Jimmy, it's that double dragon is a bane for some seeds where if you have K-Trap in the key items possibly in that treasure chest.
Yep. And FF4FE has decided his party is strong enough, has Yang in slot 2, so we should be hopefully seeing 5 kicks and we're done, but has decided to get his 3rd objective done before heading to the moon. That should get through most of them. If not, maybe we have a Flame Spear available to quick pop up and finish it up with Rosa if there's too much alive. Stupid alligators.
Yep. Can't
they cheat.
Well, I mean, their brethren, the crocodile, also the sort, the double punch, and you can't stop them because if you stop them, they will filibuster until they unfreeze. It's a feature, It's a feature. That's why Senator Crocodile has its fans. But the I think Alderman Alligator. I love that coin turn. That is all. They are just as important.
All right, hear me out. We have a Charm Rock. There's tiny mages. Oh, we don't want to be fatal casted at? Okay.
Yeah, the tiny mages are traps. They are meant to be traps for if in vanilla Tala, you'd have a Tala and you'd have the charm spell, and it'd be cute just to get them out of the way because they're actually pretty kind of a nuisance type of enemy. They're not threatening; they're just nuisances. But leave it if you confuse them. Their charm script is they fatal you. Because that is logic. But it's a thing for how battle scripts work in the game, where if a condition matches the requirements of the battle script, that is run, and I think it's also done by order. So, but either way, you're charming some monsters, like Black Cat's great. Charming tiny mages, you're asking for trouble.
Yep. And we have both. FF4FE has decided to start the toppest of top downs and is not even heading to the moon yet. Giant. One swing, we'll see what the value is, and very decently high chance of a quick reset, but if it's the Earth Crystal, Adamant Rock, or Magma, it does provide some good opportunities because we need 2 out of the 3 of those key items somewhere from this moon.
Yeah, it makes sense. You might as well. I mean, you either do hair dryers with the character check, or you do this on the way. Like, it's kind of on your way, and it makes sense. So, it makes sense. We don't have to check the element spot because we know where alt gauntlet is. So that's not an issue. Wonder if Possum is going to kind of wait for the character. Immediately go to the moon, and it's a key item. Missed it, but it's a key item. We probably
I think that was tower key.
Yeah, so that
Magma key. So that's an objective. We are now 1 key item from go mode on FF4FE's side. Possum, saving the gauntlet for a bit later, is heading to check the character first. It looks like. So we'll see if or when he chooses to go do the hair dryers and last arm.
I mean, it's going to be on the way back, I think Possum's cave, hoping that pass in hand while doing the alt gauntlet last with some sort of AoE last. And this is like the final check, and it's for a dupe bard, unfortunately. So there's another character behind Giant. We're not going to find out because that's not a consideration. And package, which FF4FE actually had an opportunity but didn't go in that direction. So hey, I'm sure at the end of the season maybe we'll find out. But either way, that is it. Both our runners has, at least for Possum for sure, guaranteed. I think FF4FE is already committed long before that.
Yep. If for one thing, like, yes, we don't have the pass, unfortunately, but if it's the hair dryers, Possum can kind of just go here. It would work better if we had the pass, but you have to go to Earth either way. But Possum could just go here if it's value, check hair dryers after doing the gauntlet, after doing Cave Bahamut spot, leave a save on the moon in case there is no value, find the value, which would be go mode if there's a key item here, and then just hit the gauntlet, head to the LST, and walk on down.
Yeah, Possum's routing is just like, if you're going back to Earth, it's probably through because you're doing the giant check, and then you're on the Earth anyways. So that's a way to look at it, and we know that it definitely has value. There's some value in the giant, so it might route better in Possum's case because FF4FE is found the magma key, but isn't coming. But still still on the moon. So.
Just a glass hat,
yeah.
So we'll see.
But that's the unfortunate part about Drag D-Mist is the
Xcal is our big second Zerker weapon. Unfortunately, we can't quite do that. So if we have a silver staff, that might be it. We just blinked and we don't have a black mage, so might also just be tanking the waves.
Yep, the D-Mist having no weakness can absorb wholly for reasons who knows. But is not a dragon. Yes, a dragon of mist, but does not have the dragon property. Consistency. That is just barely. It's a concept. It's just a concept. D-Machine, not a machine, is dragon. It's logic. But although I think there's a balance reason why D-Machines aren't actually machines. Machines actually have innate stat resistances, kind of like a ribbon, where they can't be killed by a lot of they can't be afflicted with any status effect. Which
and Possum is continuing to put off last arm. We'll see what he wants his second piece of important gear, whether he checks last arm or just keeps on the moon. But he is rushing straight down to the dragon trap chest. So has decided he wants the levels, wants the power, is setting up for the dragons first. We'll see if he heads back up for the behemoth later, but this is where he's rushing.
The only reason to do these chests over the behemoth is simply because there's effectively more XP through these trap chests. And this loot is whatever. I mean, loot from the LST, the Lunar Subterrane, is as epic, but at this point you've collected all you've needed for more or less, and you just kind of want the levels, and we got some free bird.
There we go. Second Zerker is kind of online. Possum without the spoon only had one primary stick, so now with the crystal sword he has a second. Is deciding and also remembering where the second dragon chest is, but is going to do it. We'll see if fading the behemoth ends up costing him, but it's a big XP, big power spike, which should speed up to the bottom of the moon that he wants to do. The interesting thing will be to see what route does Pankraz take through the...
Yeah, it's interesting how, if you are required to do an LST, how runners are routing things. I like the Mur altar first, which is the one where you normally fight the Paladin. Basically, if you get into the dungeon, you essentially go left and just go on your merry way with a trap chest as well. It's usually free. It's free-ish because the enemies can be killed quickly. Although we don't have a black mage, so it can't, and probably not gonna bother trying to proc instant death. We're kind of late. We should be able to do enough damage in one swing. So the decisions are kind of interesting. I mean, behemoths are pretty easy for the most part. They're very predictable. You know how they operate. They punch or be punched, and if you decide to cast any holy magic, rocks or white, they punish you really, really horribly.
Yep, and so Possum decides to just take the dragons. He faded also Warlock Debone and Warlock Carry chests, but he gained 2 big sticks along with about not 10 key items, so about 200,000 XP, which will really help this party get through the LST quicker.
I think Pankraz has a key item advantage. Has 10 key items. I see. Possum still holding out for a little bit more. Only has 7. So even if the ribbon room is taken and there are key items, still not enough to kind of speed up the level. I mean, both are runners probably well versed in not needing.
There's Zeromus ready.
Yeah, they're fine, more or less.
So, but we see Pankraz actually follows the exact same. Awesome. Heads straight down to Bimmy and Jimmy. So, interesting that both of them are skipping the Behemoth trap chest. But we'll see if Pankraz does more trap chests on the way down, or if he just kind of follows in Possum's footsteps, but with that Magma Key advantage where Possum would need to get his other piece of go mode very shortly after.
Not sure if
there's one of it.
So I don't think we've tracked how long Pankraz has essentially the power advantage with the spoon. But at this point, this has been a long time, and I think I think it's a scoop of ice cream. I'd like
a little bit.
I'd like more. I'd like more.
Yeah, we don't need any white spears. The spoon did provide, mainly the CPU was the big time save that the spoon provided. Now that we've done Sylph, got the X-Cow, now that we've done these 2 dragons, got Crystal Sword, another X-Cow, at that point, the spoon is only really usable for like a 4th Zerker, so it's no longer actually going to provide any additional time save for Pankraz now that we have alternatives. That's 2 key items from LST altars. We'll see if Possum just heads to the Ogo or decides now that he's gotten 2 to maybe go and do some trap chests.
Probably do that more. You can't kind of, you don't want to come back here. So if you even just picking up a pass at this point, there's value. There's this, obviously it might be worth resetting out if obviously if the thing is not worth it. But you have to at least see what's the key item at the end of the road.
Possum's on a very, very big timer because Pankraz is still following the exact same moon route as Possum, outside of his little side trip to the last arm for the Magma Key, which means he should, next fight he completes, hit go mode from the Earth Crystal. So if this Dr. Lugate isn't the Adamant Rock or the Pass, it's going to be really tight for Possum to have a chance.
I mean, unless you decide to fade the Crystal Sword Holder, don't see that happen. I mean, at this point you're clearing out, you essentially full clearing and as quickly as possible, because what else? How else are you gonna find out what key item is there? And it's just one of those situations where you're stuck. You just have to do it. So it's kind of, for Possum, it's like it is kind of like being a rock in a hard place. The things that have to go right are not quite rolling. If not, I think timer is really... They both
made choices, but Pankraz's 2 main pieces of divergence, Baron Castle providing the spoon for some early power, and the last arm before the moon giving the potentially quicker form, or pretty much quicker form of go mode here, allows Pankraz to have just gained enough time. Possum still has to do the gauntlet, still has to do Demist at Cave Bahamut. So with Pankraz in go mode, even with that pass, there's just a little too much to do for Possum.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate. This is like usually, and I think normally you don't talk. It's not it. You don't think the things you do early affect the end. Well, apparently this was literally that. Like there isn't. It's hard. I mean, that power difference, just spoon. Like you saw just seeing. The sequence of you. Possum started the fight probably a minute, maybe 30 seconds ahead, but Pankraz overtook Possum, and then that was like that. That's like itself. It's a mini race, but that's a kind of a huge win for Pankraz, having faded the things he did, and where Possum faded his. Those choices ultimately did make a difference, mostly due to the probably would argue just more significant divergence as a whole.
Yeah. So Pankraz will have that 3-minute walk, but unfortunate. One good thing about Possum's fade of the last arm is there is good for us viewers. There is a chance we get to find out and guess what the Super Smith is, and that's always a joy.
Well, given the Super Smith with no Sea Hero, I mean, there's still plenty of good stuff, bad stuff. I mean, we have Omnidex. If it were just straight Super Smith without Omnidex, we said we would be talking differently. But Pankraz did not get the pass because it's at the Masa altar, which Possum picked up. So that timer is right now. It's how much ever time a Possum has to pick up the things needed. Which is, I think it's just the Adamant Rock, right?
If this was the Adamant Rock and Possum had already done Cave Bahamut and Fool, then there's a chance they end up around the same time. But with those two outstanding objectives, and which very big value on these altars, Earth Crystal, Pink Tail, Luca Key, Pass, we've gotten 4 key items from them, which is either driving Possum to the top of the moon traps, or he's heading straight to the hair dryers. He might also just be doing his final.
Yeah, it's one of those things where can't really expect race to go a certain way. Like you, just based on what you see, you might be guessing, wow, someone's ahead, someone's not, and down the same race, things flip on its head. It sometimes subtle, sometimes it's significant, and yeah, it's a race, but it might seem like it's the same, but no, Pankraz is heading down to a particular fight. Probably will save on the way, just because
there's no need to save.
Well, probably, but you never know. But yeah, with this power, you've fought that many fights. Probably not. But I mean, no, no Z fight is entirely safe. Things can go wrong pretty quickly.
Z fight is 100% safe as long as you don't make any tactical errors. Like, I'm pretty sure we might even have close to 3,000 hit points on Rosa. We definitely have at least 2,400. So with our 2X cows, Crystal Sword, and Spoon, we can set up enough Zerkers. We'll never see a second Big Bang.
I mean, well, 2 white mages is a pretty large safety net as it is. I've running a many of these where you have 2 white mages usually has good outcomes, even if the fighting is slow.
Yep. With our setup, we weren't able to Black Sword to pair with the holy weapons, but still, even at half damage, our hitting for 3,000 on Octomam works it through soon enough. And at the Murasame altar, we have gotten a protect ring, so 4 out of 6 LST checks were key item checks.
It's the time of that night. I think it's bedtime, right? No, it's on the East Coast, some of us should be asleep. But no, we're here for a reason. Joe, you want to ask the question?
Yeah, so we have a whole bunch of Zeromus sprites. So always fun at the end of the seed, throw the crystal, go through big reveal. Who's that Pokemon? Who's that Zeromus? But we get to ask, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? I'm guessing. Let's do. It would be fun if Possumorpheus showed up. That's a fun one.
I just hope it's cute. That's at this point. I mean, we've seen a lot of things tonight, and I want something cute. That's what I want.
It's Ultros.
Is
That's
it
not cute? No.
I mean, some people might disagree. I don't know.
No.
The future ancestor of the Octomammoth. That is what you get. That's how they get into a Final Fantasy game. That's how it works, right?
But good old FF6 Ultros Miss. He's in the wrong game, but he maybe got a little lost. Maybe he got sneezed and ended up in this game instead. But we see Possum, well, he's at the top of the moon completing Cave Bahamut, so I wouldn't necessarily be surprised see him head to the last arm. So
that's
might
how
be
the routing.
close.
Yeah, that's what the routing is going to be for Possum. And I mean, it does align with a lot of the things Possum has said and done regarding seeds. So I am not surprised at all. At all.
Two big Zerkers nerfed the first Big Bang. We just tipped into the second phase. FF4FE is well on his way to finishing up the C team.
I think I said when the seed started, Kane and Rosa are good enough for just to run the seed. Can you? I mean, it's Omnidextrous, but and not quite the situation you normally see, but it's you can see that in action. It doesn't take much for having this power couple. Not the normal one you expect, but we've got rocks, and can Porm avoid it? Please say she does. Yes, see, she's a boss.
Yeah. On Possum's side, as we see this final hit making FF4FE finish, we see that D-Mist we weren't quite able to push through. The lack of spoon is a large part of that. So we end up seeing a long missed phase with multiple Zerkers.
So I love fun errors in the booth, but GG's to FF4FE. And I think Possum has forfeited. You wouldn't believe it if you believe the screen, but yeah. But yeah. Hey, welcome FF4FE to the booth. GG's.
Hey, thank you. GG's.
So, what were your thoughts about the seed? You chose to do stuff. You faded ordeals. You did a sweeperless Sylph.
Gross.
You chose to continue in the sweeperless Sylph even after getting the darkness crystal.
At that point, I'm at 9 key items. I just want one more, man.
That makes sense.
I just wanted one more. One more, plus a chance at a couple more weapons. I knew I was going to have Rosa as a second Zerker, and I wanted something a little more strength boosty than Dragoon, as good as that is. And as zappy as that is.
Yeah.
Also, I'm already down here. Let's just get it over with.
Let's not risk it.
Exactly. Shore up a couple things, check the Sheila 1 check, do Toad Lady, prepare, get a couple extra levels before going to the moon, so that way my Yong has more hit points, everyone has more hit points, maybe I can kick the gauntlet. And then I kicked the gauntlet, it was great.
And what made you choose to route the moon the way you did?
Part of, how do you mean? Beelining last arm?
The last arm hair dryers are fairly standard. Which order you do them can be changed, but once you went into the LST proper, you decide to rush straight to the dragons and then the ribbon. What were your thoughts with taking the dragons versus fading every other trap chest?
Oh, the dragons were free on the way down. The game gave me 3 Dragoon Spears, and I reset out of one of them. So they were always going to be free. I knew that I could get the Zerk off on Kane, and he would be doing 9ers, or just about 9ers to all of them. The fight is over in less than a minute for each box. So, maybe I spike something great out of them, maybe I don't, but at the very least I get 350,000 experience on my way down, without a lot of investment. I didn't want to sit there and rearrange my party on repeat, move Kane to the center slot, move him out of the center slot, etc. for the behemoths. And without great AoE, I didn't really want to fight some of the other boxes. Didn't want to do Warlock carry, didn't really want to do the Warlock defossil. Maybe I could have, maybe I didn't. But ultimately, my plan was always head to the bottom, hit some things on the way down, just do the altars down there. I don't have a pass, so we're just trying to find something anyway. Let's see what we can scrounge up.
And, well, that routing definitely paid out, finding go mode fast.
Oh yeah, opening the first box, getting what was it like another ninja hat, something weird, something useless. And I'm like, okay. And then I click the next one, and it's Earth Crystal. And it's like revive Porum, we've got to go.
Then in your early game, one, you chose not to fight any of the Eblin trap boxes. Was it a matter of offense or
A bit of offense, a lot of time. My weaponry at that point being Flame Spear, Black Sword. Maybe I could have done double Flame Spear or something. It's not great. I'd much rather, maybe wait after I get a couple characters from Hobbs, from Baron Inn, see if one of them wants experience / can do it faster, see if I can scrounge up a couple other pieces of loot, or see if I can, get more levels to survive TM and be able to take them out a little more efficiently. Because giving it 600 damage per swing, while doable from the back row with all the defensive gear in there, wasn't confidence inspiring. So, let's pour him. And Rose got a Berserk. I figured I'd just go back, knock it out real quick with still Flame Spear, Black Sword. Oh, no, I had Spoon at that point. Spoon, Black Sword.
And then your other early game thing was Baron Castle. You got that early. What made you decide to chase that? And was it kind of a counterplay or just a play you would like to do in most circumstances?
I mean, I am on the record saying that Baron is a stinky check. It's long, it's coarse, it's rough, and gets everywhere. And it's just not a good time, usually. But having the Baron key before doing Baron Inn means that I can single dip it, I can check the item or the weapon shop when I'm lacking in weaponry. I can get a little bit more XP to get Rosa to Berserk before the hook route. And lastly, it's a gated character check before I go underground as well. I'm looking for a black mage of any kind at this point. A Palom, a Fusoya, I'd take a Dark Knight Cecil or an Edge too to be a sweeper. I'm just looking for something to expedite the gauntlet that I had seen. No, I hadn't seen the gauntlet at the point. To expedite Sylph chests. That's the one that's on my mind at that point. And to find just a little more power than my team has. And then the character checks a dupe anyway, which happens. Yeah. But the Spoon reward was kind of exactly what I needed and made it pay off big time.
Okay. Deathlike, do you have any questions for Pankraz?
I had a few. So just so you know, Pankraz, I'm not sure you discussed it with Possum, but the pass was at the Mass Altar because you already had your Gomo, so that wasn't a thing that you would have not come across it. But I'm trying to rewind it a little bit. We started the seed with the Rosa Kane seed. That is the kind of the pairing that you use to Zerking. Obviously, Kane natural Zerker and Rosa be sufficient Zerker. I mean, given that what we found in what was found in the rest of the seed in terms of non-characters that couldn't do what they could do, for the most part. I mean, was it a kind of relief, or did you not have to do so much put too much effort into looking for a character that would kind of survive the majority of the seed?
Definitely did a little bit of extra character checks. That was me checking the Sand Ruby after the Underground, doing Dwarf early. Wasn't looking forward to that. Doing Baron in the first place. I was looking for a character, for that sweeper purpose, less concerned with the Zerkers and the like. But you saw a lot of questions in my play, or questionable moments where I keep changing my anchor and the like. I get the Edward and I'm like, cool, Edward's kind of a second Zerker. We'll anchor with Porum after getting her to exit, and then she can cast Berserk, and we'll have 2 Berserk casters, it'll be great. And then I see the CPU, and I don't want to do that anymore, so Edward's the anchor, and then Yang comes along. It kept, with the character selection available, it kept me having to check a few more checks to try to round out the party a little bit more, shore up the lack of a sweeper, the lack of a lot of HP, and try to get something else for a second Zerker. Rosa's great. Rosa's serviceable, as you mentioned. But she definitely wants some of those weaponry, and, when I'm rocking Flame Black Sword until I get the Spoon, or rather Spoon Power Staff afterwards with no other real weaponry, I would like someone with a little more oomph to the stat line than Rosa.
Yeah, I definitely see that. What I know this is the thing that most runners won't consider, and probably, and fair enough. We still don't know who the two characters at large that were available to seed, but wouldn't package have been a consideration, just at least peak if that was there? I mean, you were like literally from a routing perspective, you parked in between Kaipo for the sand ruby check. You also had the package at the time. Wouldn't have been worth checking package, just even though the sequence and the boss fight that you wouldn't want, but would have taken time. Would you have just just at that point?
There was a temptation when I landed and checked the sand ruby, and I saw another dupe Rosa. Go figure. I was tempted to go and check the package. And what led me, the big factor in leading me away from it was that I had already found Gauntlet.
Yeah.
There's no cheeky boss check or anything. It's literally just the character. And my party wasn't great, but I don't think that any character that I could have gotten saves me the amount of time of the package check over Sylph, especially when I'd still need to get them experience points to get to a sweeping status. And I'd still need to do a few other things. Best case, I'm maybe time neutral with a different party and have to figure out a new set of Zerkers and a new Z-Fight strat that I had already settled on. And worst case, I'm just wasting some time. And since the Gauntlet was found, since there was no extra incentive, I just stayed away.
Okay.
No, totally.
Makes sense. Do you have any final thoughts about this?
I chatted a bit with Possum afterwards. It seems like the big difference maker for part of it was me finding a spoon early sped a lot of things up. So in a seed like this, where the power level's low and things are kind of direct, having anything to speed up everything is going to be a big boon. So got a little lucky on that front, but I think that I played well regardless, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can both do in Game 2. It should be a fun time.
Looking forward to that as well. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you all for being here too. Thank you, Plumeria Knight, for putting on the broadcast. Thank you, Deathlight. Thank you, Joe, for the commentary. Fun stuff. Gonna look forward to the watch back. And of course, thank you, Dubword, pressing those buttons. Thank you for the good luck as well in the stream before we started. You definitely did that to Possum too, I think. So hopefully we were both equally blessed by the luck of the restream. But outside of that, no. You all have a great rest of the night. Thank you all for being here. And we'll see you around soon.
Have a good day.
GG's again.
And with that, we are joined by Possumorpheus. GG's on the race.
Thank you. GG's to Pankraz.
It was certainly a fun one to watch. So what were your thoughts about early with the trap chests that you took? What made you choose to take those trap chests versus Pankraz ended up not taking them?
I'm in the Black Sword, and I get extra levels on Rosa. Rosa needs a little more TLC than Porum to get to Zerk. So those extra early trap chests let me have Zerk for things like Baron in 2, where it can come in handy. And potentially, for other things on the overworld, should they show up, like a Tower of Zoph through an Earth Crystal or something like that. So I like to do those when I have the defense as well. I was able to get about 45 defense on each party member for the Black Cat Lamia chest. Still not certain, need to look into why the Lamia wasn't getting swooned. The agility was right on it. My only thought that I can think of is they resist sleep, and I had a Cat Claw on as well as a Black Sword, but sleep resistance shouldn't be on contact. So I'm not certain as to why the Lamia wouldn't go, but with the defense I had and the Black Sword, not really a reason not to. They're very safe fights, the Mad Ogres and the Black Cat Lamia. I never ended up doing the Staleman Skull chest, period. Just wiped it from the face of the earth.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
So it was one of those where, against Pankraz, he's one of the very few people in this community that I think I am down a half a check to a check in a straight line, and I have to make a fade or two along the way. The Staleman Skull chest was a good fade. Baron, because it had a spoon, ended up being a terrible fade. And then the last arm chest, ended up being the nail in the coffin. So kind of just the things that I chose to do tonight didn't go in my favor. Overall, though, I don't have a lot of complaints about how I played. You know, it was just kind of low power and not having the spoon, especially for CPU and then later demist. You know, and just a couple other fights along the way certainly drugged those on. Odin would have been faster at Dwarf Castle. Antlion would have been faster at the top of Tower. So kind of a snowball effect. It sounds like we got to the moon relatively similar time, kind of from what we were talking about post-race. So that actually gives me a little bit of confidence that if I was down, you know, a spoon, but still within shouting distance of a runner as great as Pankraz, I don't think I need to change anything. So I know that's a very long answer to a very early question that you asked about the Ebling Castle traps, but you know, like to just kind of go with the flow and give my thoughts.
No, it makes sense. The big thing that the spoon really, that your Orb RNG was certainly worse than some I've seen.
Yeah, Kane was like, "Ooh, shiny," and then he kept trying to play with shiny. I was, you know, it happens.
I was worried it was like some sort of weird art that we've seen. Eventually, yeah, I mean, he stopped.
In Adamant Cup finals against Dusty Griff, there was an Evil Wall at Cave Bahamut that attacked my edge 11 times in a row, did not touch my Eddie Anchor, and eventually had to sit there in the menu, change his equipment, target him with a dancing dagger for him to actually get hit by Evil Wall. It was one of those where, like, how many times can you roll a 50-50 in a row and get it wrong? And this had shades of that. So, you know, it's one of those where, you know, I think back to these moments and it's like, man, sometimes I wish I was playing against just my opponent and not RNG as well. But, like, again, that's going to happen throughout the course of a race. It didn't sound like Pankraz's was particularly smooth either. Sounds like he got some bad Orb RNG too. So I think that all levels out. It's just the spoon diff there is probably 12 to 1,500 damage per attack is what I'm guessing. And
at least.
Yeah, that's tough. It's just tough to overcome, to be down weaponry to a runner who is objectively slightly faster than I am. So, you know, it happens. But still in good spirits, didn't make any egregious errors, got through Sylph just fine, even without, you know, any sweepers. Mute strats, always a fun time. You know, had plenty of equipment. It just, you know, wasn't meant to be tonight, and that happens.
And what made you go and route the LST itself? You kind of just checked a couple trap chests, but not most of them, and then just went only altars from there on.
Yeah, so I still believe in the power of math, and math would indicate a couple of things. One, that, you know, the last arm chest is about the same as a K main check, and that means that I probably should have done it. However, again, got to do something to make a fade, especially given, you know, doing ordeals and having that zonk. I know Pankraz is not going to do that. So my only hope was he had done Baron, and it zonked also, which technically it did, but the spoon is one of the better zonks we could have gotten. So my thought was I need to cut something. Last arm is a long check when you already know where the gauntlet is. And so for me it was, well, that's 90 seconds of walking and cutscenes and all of that, where I can be on the bottom of the moon already. There's more density at the bottom of the moon. The Ribbon Room has 2 key item checks. White Spear altar is there. Masa altar, Crystal Sword altar. Like, they're all there, and they all have better odds than Lunar Subterranean traps. I did on the way down take the dragons because a little bit of XP doesn't hurt, and they were totally free because this particular seed gave us Dragoon Spears like they were candy from a vending machine. It was just, here's your Dragoon Spear, here's your Dragoon Spear. Everyone, you know, seed was being Oprah with Dragoon Spears. So, like, those were completely free on the way down. Take them, find what the rewards are. Got some decent gear out of it. You know, and then just go to the bottom of the moon and believe in the power of math for what the altars will hold.
Okay, that's about it for questions for me. Deathlight, have any last questions?
I had to actually look this up because it was worth looking up. And yes, Lamia has a resistance to sleep. And if I've said probably about breath and resistance, if you resist one of them, you resist all of it. and that having the cat claw, which it was kind of cute to see death and sleep. Which, I mean, sleeping. If you're dead, you're sleeping. But in that instance, that is why the instant death never procced.
That makes sense. That's what I was speculating. So I appreciate you clarifying that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I would have. It made sense if you just used a strong weapon just in case it didn't proc. I mean, I'm sure you procced it the way you should. It's just that it's one of those just in case thing went horribly wrong.
Well, it's really interesting because the on-contact, the ATB0 type application is typically not part of the resistance. So, you can go ahead and, take out something with I'm trying to think of other things, but you can use single weaponries to actually still hit through resistances on certain enemies. But it seems like maybe the combination...
a crystal armor user?
Yeah, it's the same concept of that. So my assumption then would be, you can't have a combination of then a cat claw and a black sword, because then resisting that sleep effect, even though it's not part of your typical weapon resistances, is overriding the black sword swoon proc. That's my guess as to what happened there, and I was kind of thinking about it afterwards. It doesn't make a ton of sense for how the on-application stuff works, but hey, we learned today, and that's the second time I've gotten to learn a cool little feature in one of these races that has led to a loss. The first one was finding out that if you cast magic, like with an earth hammer on goblins in the Tower of Zot Gauntlet, they will counter with charm, and then they will ruin your day. So I've learned a couple of really cool things and losses in this tournament, and that's neat. I find value in that. A lot of the time there's more value in losses than wins.
It's always good to increase your knowledge base. At this point, having played the game for so long, it's tough to find those moments, so it's cool to have them.
And one more, just I think you've said it before, Possum. Just trying to get power. Obviously, it was clear that you made character checks to find someone that could hit everything, like a Palom. Really, it didn't really matter as long as it could hit everyone. And I think, and the spoon obviously was a major difference maker, especially in a fight where pretty much raw power ruled the day, especially with D-Mist and CPU, or CPU being you can see the time sink there. Had you considered using Kick for the alt gauntlet, or you want to do it on your way down? Because it takes about Yang. Didn't need too much of a way of equipment. Kick, I think you maybe stack a few black belts or whatever, and should be able, at level 30 is more than enough to take them on.
Oh yeah, Kick was not a concern. It wasn't an issue about, Yang was always in my final party. I wasn't going to swap anyone out. Once Sylph was done, there was no reason to even bother with black mages. I still would take a Fu, but I wouldn't take a Palom and grind them up at that point. So the party was set, and it was one of those things where it's like, I'll just do it on the way back. I have to come back to the blue planet anyway. I'm missing half a forge, I'm missing the magma key, and I'm missing the earth crystal. There is no way I'm getting out of this seed without going to the moon and coming back. So I'm just going to put that off until later. It's, again, not going to make any difference whatsoever on the route. I'm not flying by it on my way to launch the whale, because of how the seed ended up routing in. It was going from Agert to Mysidia. Had I been coming from maybe Baron, let's say I did a Baron check or something like that, I would probably stop at the waterfall and do it then. But it didn't route in flight path-wise, so I was trying to find a better time to do it later.
Yeah, totally.
Kick was 100% on the table there for that gauntlet.
Because I knew you didn't do you do last arm, so it was last arm routing into that. It's you're coming back down. You're gonna make it all kind of run into one neat package, and I totally understand that.
If you're going through last arm or coming back from the moon, you can land outside of there, do your check, figure it out from there once you get back. It turns out that the adamant rock was behind the earth crystal, which was going to be one of my next checks anyway. So go mode was on the table. It was just a matter of it was, that was the very long go mode for the seed. So, what happens.
Yep.
Still happy with how I ran. I think it was probably a fun race to watch until it wasn't. And I'm guessing that was once the Magma Key showed up, it was probably GG's at that point. Because it's Pankraz and I talking afterwards, he did that before doing hair dryers, K Bahamut, etc. So,
Yeah.
It's just a matter of that Magma Key dynamically changes the approach to the rest of the seed. So he made the right plays. I didn't for this seed, and that's rando gonna rando. If the spoon is on Ordeals and the pan is in Baron and it's flipped, this probably goes the other way. I think it's that big of a difference, and I think that's how close we are with it. That a little bit of RNG in one of our favor versus the other, and yeah, it does make an impact. So we'll see what happens Friday. I think our next race is Friday.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's Friday.
It's Friday. It's I think 7 p.m. Eastern as well.
Okay.
That's what I saw also.
Yeah.
And that's what's so. GG's again, Possum. That was a great race. Even though things wish it
Didn't go your way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't get down about the wins and losses. Like emotions aside, you can separate good wins, bad losses, bad wins, good losses. You can take all that and kind of look at it analytically. This to me is a perfectly fine loss. I gathered some information. I think that once I watch it back, I'll see that we're still very close. Have a couple days to digest and see kind of how Pankraz routed this one and see the order of operations and kind of do the student of the game thing and see if I can figure something out. Last round I was down 0-1 after one game and managed to come back. So we're gonna try to do the same on this one, and at least go to a game 3 because everybody loves a game 3.
I'm looking
Joe, Deathlight,
forward
thanks for
to
the
that.
comms. Demaria, thanks for restreaming. Dubward, thanks for the button pushes, and everyone out there in the free enterprise world, thanks for always supporting the wonderful community, the runners, etc. Y'all are amazing. And have a good night, friends.
You too. Hope you enjoy your rest.
Thank you.
GG's again, Possum.
So with that, our race is ended. We will be signing off here, but make sure to RPG limit break for the game 2 of Possumorpheus. It'll be 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So make sure to check that out for our next game of the semifinals. This game was real fun to watch, so I'm looking forward to game 2 as well. Hope everyone has a wonderful night.
Yep. Have a good night and see you all next seed.